So I'm really happy to be here in Stockholm for several reasons. First of all, because it's Stockholm.
Yeah.
And secondly, because I'm here with my friend Åsa Sundelin. Did I pronounce your last name properly?
Yeah,
Sundelin?
yeah,
Okay,
Sundelin.
I'm working on my Swedish. Thanks. And I first met Åsa in San Francisco it was actually late 2009. And she is your exact title is you're the director of Project 180?
Yeah.
I'd like you to talk a little bit about what Project 180 is.
180 is an online solution for children who does not attend school, who've chosen not to attend school for various reasons. The purpose of 180 is trying to find ways for children to re-engage into learning, but also to reduce the risk for long-term alienation from society. So it's trying to get them into the loop again. And we're doing it through the back door in ways, because many people, or these children does not attend school and they don't communicate with other adults in school. So we're trying to reach them through the back door using modern technology and the internet.
Okay, maybe tell me a little bit more about the modern technology and the internet, because one of the things we all know about kids is that, and this is a challenge for every teacher and every educator, that with so many options out there today, what you really need to do is find ways to engage kids and keep them engaged. Because the old model of, I'm going to tell the student what to do in class and in their learning, and they're going to do it, simply doesn't work as well when there's so many attractive alternatives to sitting there and learning. So what are some of the technologies that you use to get these kids engaged or re-engaged?
The technologies are just modern communication tools.
Social media.
Depends. Yeah, social media. Well, social media, we're trying to reach them through their own communication channels, the channels that they use. And we use the motivation for learning, because all these kids have things that they're interested in. So we are focusing on their interests and trying to find knowledge in their informal learning and show them that they have knowledge that they didn't think that they had, because they don't count that as formal learning. So we're trying to re-engage through social media.
So it's showing kids who might not have been successful in the traditional formal education system that they can actually be highly successful because they actually are learners. They didn't think of themselves as learners, but they are.
No, that's true. We're trying to re-engage them through their own interest and motivation. And I mean, all these kids have interests and they do things, but they don't consider it as learning. So we're trying to show them and build up their self-esteem and noticing them as learners.
Was it you and this organization, Rectors Academia, who first saw the need for a program like Project 180, or was it the system itself kind of crying out and asking for help and seeing that there was an existing need?
I think it's both. I think there is a need to change the way we think about learning, because learning is a lot more than today's school and the curriculum that sets the standards. But and also I think there is a need because many children find school not as relevant as we might want it to be. Learning in school needs to be more relevant, connected to the real society.
Now, I would say, I think that was really well said, and I don't think that in any way that's a criticism of anything that's going on in Sweden, because I hear every day from people a very similar concern. And I do think that Project 180 is one of those vehicles, one of those ways that we can re-energize and re-engage kids in these learning. So do you think that Project 180 has an application that goes further than Stockholm, further than Sweden? Could a program like this be designed and expanded for other countries?
Absolutely. I mean, it depends on how you think about learning and trying to change the thoughts about learning. But I mean, both you can expand it into the whole world, of course, because communication is a lot easier now. But I also think that it's not just for these kids that we're trying to change the thoughts about learning. I mean, we're trying to but we're trying to show that the kids that are hardest to reach for the schools and for learning at the moment, if they can gain from 180, then all kids in the whole world can gain from the thoughts of learning that we have in 180.
And it seems to me it's not just the kids benefiting from what happens in 180, but there's a much greater benefit. So I know that Sweden, one of the great things about Sweden is it is perhaps the world's most significant consensual democracy. and there's lots of investment made in social programs and social services. So what would happen to some of these kids if 180 didn't exist? It seems to me, I think my question more directly is, wouldn't these kids end up becoming a burden on the Swedish system?
Oh, absolutely. There are lots of investigations that has been done, or reports that has been written about what a long-term alienation means in economic terms for society, and it's a lot, or high cost for society. But I mean, that's not considering the emotional impact on people who are alienated from society. So absolutely, there's so much to gain, mainly on the emotional side. I think that's my...
And how many, that makes a lot of sense. How many students do you have right now engaged in the program?
At the moment we have 11, but we started in January for real. We have been finding out the methods during 2 years' time. So how to reach them, and how to reach them on their communication tools, because we are the dinosaurs in communicating and making connection and gaining trust with these kids. So we have been doing it since January, and there's 11 now, and and more students coming in all the time. And we've focused on this. I mean, these grades from 7th to 9th grade in Sweden. But I mean, I think that we can move it into other areas, because all the areas which students are not engaged in learning can benefit from what we learn in 180.
As a very skilled and experienced educator, I'm curious about how you change a student's mindset. We talked earlier in the conversation about, students don't see themselves sometimes as being able to learn or being competent in the classroom. How do you go about changing a child's mindset to the point where they have a sense of self-worth about their own role as learner?
We try to see, or we try to find their interest, and all these kids have interest, and by just talking to them and dealing with them in an equal sense. I mean, we are learners as well, and they are learners, so they can show us things that we didn't know, so that their self-esteem gets higher, and that's why I think we're trying to talk them into and giving them empowerment and seeing them and their skills and their knowledge, and find a way to make them see that they are equally learners as we are.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. It really does. If somebody hears this podcast from around the world, because we do have people, which is lovely and a great surprise, that hit on the blog from all over the world, and they'd like to learn more, do you have documentation available in English that you could send them?
Yes, absolutely.
And how should they contact you? What's your email?
My email is asa@180.se.
So spelled out, ONEEIGHTY.
Yeah. It's not the numbers.
Perfect. Åsa@180.se.
Yeah.
This has been great. It's been a pleasure being here in Stockholm with you, and seeing you again and doing this little podcast. And we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you.